How about this one in the NFC West? It's the Seahawks and the Rams for sole possession of first place. Chris Hassel with Kyle Long. Rams are at home. Rams are favored in this game. These are the only two teams in the National Football League, Kyle, top 5 in scoring and points allowed. What gives?
What gives is that just this past week, we saw the Eagles beat the Packers on Sunday Night Football, or was that Monday Night Football?
Monday night,
it was
yeah.
nighttime.
Yeah, it was.
It was nighttime. You know, and it opens the door for either the Rams or the Seahawks to really take a stranglehold on this NFC. And I know the Lions are still looming, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are licking their wounds a little bit. But these are the two teams, bro. Matt Stafford is the MVP right now. Sam Darnold is probably number 2, in my opinion. And I'll start with the Seahawks because they've got their work cut out for them going to Los Angeles, playing against a red-hot Matt Stafford-led Rams football team. You know, I think about the Rams, it's the front four. It's the way that Sean McVay's offense can just matriculate down the field, either over a long course of time or Matt Stafford can cut you up. But for the Seahawks, I think that they have a really, really good blend of skills and physicality. So there's a lot of toughness there with the front. It's built into what Mike McDonald wants for his defense, okay? They fly around, they play a violent brand of football defensively, but they are very on their P's and Q's. They're a smart group, they're disciplined, and they win up front with those rushers and those guys who put dents in the line of scrimmage. Matt Stafford, not the most nimble guy, okay? He was in what kind of chamber was he in before the season?
Cryogenic?
Yeah, they were spraying him with the freezing water, you know what I'm saying? They were out there with the hose at the practice facility, and we were like, is he even gonna make it to camp? Well, this is the week where we're really gonna find out, you know, how well he's feeling, how well he can move, how many times he can get off the mat, because this front for the Seahawks, that's what they're aiming to do, to get him off of his spot. The offense for the Seattle Seahawks. I'll start with Clint Kubiak and what his plan was coming into the season and what I anticipated this offense being all about. Running the football consistently, taking the load off of Sam Darnold, and obviously on third downs, having good concepts to be able to get guys open and move the sticks to get back to the running game. Throw that out the window. The run game's been inconsistent. It has been Sam Darnold not using autopilot, hands at 10-2, being dominant for this offense the entirety of the season. 9.9 yards per attempt for Sam Darnold. And when I think about other offenses I can remember that have had that kind of clip, it's like Kurt Warner, greatest show on turf, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Kansas City Chiefs, and Sam Darnold for the Seattle Seahawks. You think those fans are happy right now that they've made the moves that they have at the quarterback position, at the head coach position? Not to say those other guys didn't do anything for them, but this matchup will come down to protecting the quarterback, because the Los Angeles Rams, they've got some pass rushers as well. They've got some guys that can win. So who deals with pressure better? On the road, silent count, you know, in Los Angeles. It's going to be a raucous environment. This football team has really turned on that fan base in LA again, and guys like Matt Stafford are a big reason for it. But this game is 2 7-2 teams, first place in the NFC West against second place in the NFC West, and obviously the Rams are still, or the Niners are still hanging around. But you and I both know this is it. This feels like a playoff game, dude. I can't wait to watch this one. What are you looking forward to in this?
I can't wait to see which quarterback has the better game.
Yeah,
because I mean, you said it. You think these are the top 2 guys in the MVP race right now.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford, according to the odds, is tied with Drake May, and Sam Darnold's behind. But the things that Sam Darnold are doing, I mean, you mentioned, you know, greatest show on turf and all that. 07 Patriots.
So 07 Patriots. So the way that this Seahawks team starts football games, I know that there was some special team stuff and there was some funny stuff that happened to get the score the way it was this past week against the Cardinals. But you look up, and in a hiccup, they're up by 3 scores. And it's not just last week against the Cardinals. This football team has the highest point differential in the first 3 quarters of any team in the National Football League. And I've been on some bad teams. I've been on some good teams. The bad teams, we didn't start fast. The good teams, you come out like a friggin' bullet out of a gun in that first quarter. And that's what the Seahawks have done. And I think they pair the explosion of their offense with the bully mentality of their defense, and they end up with a product that is really winning football, particularly because Sam Darnold has been lights out.
Best first half point differential in the NFL since Tom Brady in 2007 with Randy Moss.
That's pretty good.
And one of the greatest.
And you think about all those
teams of all
defenses,
time.
and you think about the defense for that team as well.
Right.
Because the Seattle defense, I mean, the Seattle defense opponents' points per game is 5th in the league. So that's an elite level, top 5. But their point differential is 2nd in the league, which tells me their offense has been kicking ass. Their defense has been kicking ass. They've been taking care of the football. They're not just beating teams. They're really bludgeoning teams.
But there's this but
it's Sam
Pete
Darnold.
Prisco. Yeah, Pete Prisco, if he was here right now, he'd say, yeah, but what happened at the end of the season last year with Minnesota? He and some others think that Seahawks fans should be wary that he could turn back into a pumpkin at some point this season. Do you see that happening?
I would say that the pumpkin talk has gone out the window for me because it's been more than 1 year for Sam Darnold. He's gone out and done this 2 years in a row. And, oh, yeah, he hasn't just been a guy. He's been one of the guys in the National Football League where the top is very top-heavy. It's Josh. So name your top 4 guys, top 5 guys going into the season. It's Josh, Lamar,
right.
Patrick, Joe. It's a different conversation now. You mentioned Drake. You mentioned Sam. You mentioned Matthew Stafford.
Baker Mayfield.
It's wide open, buddy. It's the Wild West right now. And what better way to describe this matchup with the Seahawks and the Rams than the Wild West?
Well, Sam Darnold has one of, if not, the best wide receiver in football right now. Would you take anyone at the wide receiver position over Jackson Smith and Jigba at this point in the season?
The only guy I would take is in Cincinnati, and his name is Jamar Chase. But right now, this guy, Jackson Smith and Jigba, has been out of this world. And I think it goes without saying how good he's been. And I think the addition of Rashid Shaheed will aid Jackson Smith and Jigba in being able to get even more open for this offense. And one note I had down here, if you have any anxiety or concern as a Seattle Seahawk going into this game, is how is this offensive line going to protect on 3rd down, 2nd down to passing situations? As I said, their running game hasn't been as consistent, so they've relied on Sam Darnold. Well, with Shaheed, you can get to that jet sweep action, the reverse action, some of this outflanking that front 4 as quickly as possible and taking the knife out of the hands of the defense. And I think that in combination with Jackson Smith and Jigba at the 2nd and 3rd level of the defense is going to be a recipe that's really hard to stop for the Seahawks.
You were on the phone with your brother, Chris, right before we recorded
Regrettably.
this. And he said he doesn't think the Seahawks need to blitz anybody to get to Matthew Stafford. You agree with that?
I mean, I do. I really do. And I think it's part of the way that this roster was constructed. And when I was comparing the Denver Broncos defense to earlier in our conversation to that Tampa Bay defense that got after Mahomes and the Philadelphia defense that won with 4 with Vic Fangio's, just drop everybody back and kick their ass up front. And that's the recipe. I think that's a similar recipe that Seattle has. They may not be the guys, the marquee names, but, I mean, Byron Murphy that's a manimal in the middle. And they've got a few of those guys in Seattle, and that's why they're doing this to football teams.
Good news is we get to see this matchup twice before the postseason. Maybe we get a third one.
Yeah.
They play again in 5 weeks, and depending how things shake out, winner of this game could be the 1 seed sitting here in this position next week.